Greetings and welcome to The Hearth. I am Julia, a professionally accredited astrologer through the FAA, and today we'll be discussing the North Node in Aries with the South Node in Libra. So nowadays there's plenty of astrology that is watered down and sugar-coated, and this gives a justification for unsavory, lame behavior. And a lot of it keeps us in a state of urgency, which can be addictive. And this is just a terrible way of being because it's taking us away from living in our highest ordained way of being, as well as keeping us in a loop of anxiousness and terror. This is not ethical astrology by any means. So we want to honor who we are being right now, appreciating this very moment, while simultaneously creating a path for us to continue to embody our potential. We are living in a world that is obsessed with becoming, and this impacts us on forgetting just how to be. And so even though we are always evolving, we want to think about, well, what am I doing right now that is uplifting myself, assisting me into where it is that I want to go? What is working for me, what is not? And this is the beauty of astrology because it is helping us understand our personal and collective roadmaps. And we can look at what is going on at any given moment. However, knowledge is only useful when you act on it. You can have all of the theory in the world, but what good is it if you're not putting it to work? So we want to make astrology digestible, understandable in this current day that we're in. And so we are here to unpack any archaic fire and brimstone terminology so it's less daunting. And this approach stems from an aphorism: a wise man rules his stars, but a fool obeys them. And this is said by the 2nd century astrologer Ptolemy. And so what he is saying here is that we want to understand our behaviors, our traits, what makes us tick, anything that is innate, so therefore we can work with it rather than becoming a slave to our being. I personally believe, along with many others out there, that we are living in a co-creation with God, Spirit, Universe, Source, whatever the name it is that you want to give that beautiful creative life force that runs through us all. But if you have the eyes to perceive such guidance and the patience and trust to allow life to unfold in front of you and acknowledge that not everything is in your control, this is where we can learn to be in that flow, that co-creation. We know that you can definitely achieve whatever it is that you want to in this life, while at the same time remaining humble, to remember that our life is full of promises, both challenging and uplifting. There are certainly a lot of things out of our control, but we can certainly learn how to respond to the best of our abilities to that. And a lot of this seems to stem from the lunar nodes. So the nodes are these important points in our chart as they tell us where the solar has had much experience in and where it needs to learn to grow in this life. So the North Node, or Rahu, is where we are inexperienced. It is where we need to lean into. And so through the Vedic lens, this can also relate to illusion, confusion, materialism, and even obsession. On the other hand, we have the South Node, and he looks like a little basket. So you can think of this like it's the soul carrying its basket around of everything that it's an expert in, that's brought over from previous lives into this one. So we naturally gravitate towards the South Node and whatever the signs are associated with that placement. So therefore we have this propensity to rely on the South Node because it's everything that is familiar. It's what's our habit. A lot of modern pop astrology will suggest that you have to let go of these traits completely, and it's not as simple as that. That's a gross oversimplification. So the South Node, or Ketu, reminds us that it is important to have these innate tools under our belt, but if we want to evolve and grow in this life, we want to learn how to take those tools and integrate them into the North Node. So where it is that we want to head to. We don't want to ignore one and completely focus on the other. And you can't anyway, because they are they're tied in yet separate. So the whole illusionary aspect. The nodes are confusing and chaotic by nature. So working on how to balance both receding and achieving energies is key to integration. So in saying this, the person with the North Node in Aries is here to cultivate a life of independence. Even though this can seem unfamiliar, the North Node is what we need to step into, but remembering the Vedic lens as well, it can give a sense of obsession. And so we know that Aries being the first sign, it is fire, it is cardinal, so therefore it is forthright and naturally has this leader ability. It is about the autonomy, the self, the instinct, and it has this warrior-like assertion. So therefore, when you push all that together, what you're looking at is the individual with the North Node in Aries is here to cultivate independence and self-assertion while ensuring authentic leadership. A real leader does not go overboard with assertion, but one who tames those warlike tendencies and channels that pure, raw inner fire into devoting a light to lead others, to allow others to find their own path and their own confidence. So Aries is ruled by the planet Mars, and this planet is associated with war, drive, desire, lust, anything that is fast, fastidious, penetrating, cutting and burning. So being the ruler of the North Node, this is telling us that there can be this overwhelm of urgency, that everything is an emergency when it's not actually the case. And what I've found with working with clients over the years is that once we start to get the hang of working with our North Node, we can accidentally step too much into those traits. This is where the obsession can come in, so again through the Vedic lens. And this is revealed through an intensification of the unsavory traits associated with the sign. And so this is interesting because through the Vedic lens, Rahu is the dragon's head. It is the eyes to see, it is the mouth to eat, but because it is separated from the body, it does not have the heart to feel or the stomach to say, I am full, I don't need to eat anymore. So this is where the themes of obsession and materialism and greed can come in. It's not to say that we are all destined to be greedy in that area of life, whatever the North Node is for each of us, but it is giving us a heads up that we need to ensure that there are certain boundaries or procedures put in for us to ensure that we know when we are actually nourished, even if we don't feel like it. And it just means that we need to do our due diligence and not get carried away with this placement, and to make sure that we are not obeying our signs. So the overuse of Aries can look like one is becoming tyrannical, argumentative for the sake of wanting to start conflict because it gets a rise out of people. It really triggers up the nervous system, getting all feisty like. And so there is also action without following through the action, so instigation of a project without finishing it, for example. And this can lead to levels of flakiness or agitation when commitments are needed. And on the opposite side, the polaritive side to this, we have the South Node or Ketu in Libra. And so again, Ketu looks like a little basket, so it is the soul's basket of all the proclivities that we are carrying here. It is what the soul is proficient in. And so someone with the South Node in Libra shows that they are naturally diplomatic. This person is so good at relating and being receptive to others that they can accidentally lose themselves in relationships. And this doesn't apply to just romantic, this goes throughout any kind of platonic relationship. So Libra is ruled by Venus, who is about contracts, diplomacy, relating and partnerships, as well as finances. So there is a tendency at being so good at putting others first that this can morph into enmeshment or being so reliant on external validation, needing the approval of others. And they can be so overly committed to another person's opinion that they actually hide in relationships, and they can lose their sense of self just so that they are keeping the peace. So this placement of the North Node in Aries with the South Node in Libra highlights that the native is so attached to being harmonious and attentive at keeping the peace that they actually self-sabotage and sabotage the relationships because they avoid conflict altogether. And we know that conflict can be uncomfortable, sure, but it's necessary at times. It doesn't always have to mean like death or an actual battle, but it just shows that you have the ability to self-advocate and you have a level of resilience being built as you move through any kind of disharmony.